How's it going, everyone? This is Daniel. In this video, we're going to be talking about the top 3 penny stocks to watch out for this week. We also going to be going over some of the stocks that we talked about in the past few months. We're going to be talking about exactly what to expect for the overall stock market, what to watch out for these penny stocks that have important FDA related news, and what to watch out for the overall market. So make sure you stay tuned. We're going to cover all this important information in this video coming up. As you can see over here, we have the S&P 500 ETF SPY sitting at 603.12 year to date, up 3.16%. So there has been some extreme volatility that happened a few months ago when I made a video going over some of the important stocks to watch out for to buy the dip on. We're going to talk about them in a little bit. But as you can see, the overall market basically is positive year to date. And we have this decline that happened because of the tariffs situation that's been happening with the president. But let's go over and look at exactly some of the stocks that we talked about during that time. So the first stock that we talked about was, of course, SoFi stock. We love this stock, and as you can see, it is doing pretty good. It was a massive drop that happened. At one point, we were sitting at $18 a few months ago, and we went all the way down to $8.60. Right now, we're basically close to 100% move from $8.60 to close to $15-16. So that was a pretty massive gain. We were talking about it when we had this massive dip, and it was a great stock to watch out for. As you can see, it recovered pretty good. Another stock we talked about was Palantir. Now, this stock was also one of the important stocks to watch out for 2025. This is a company that is definitely involved with AI and with the government, has a lot of contracts, and they're definitely expanding a lot. As you can see, it is hitting, all-time highs, 52-week highs, day by day. So that is really phenomenal to watch. This was a fantastic opportunity to buy this stock when it was like $70, $80. We talked about it, so it was phenomenal to see it making all-time highs and potentially have a phenomenal 2025. Of course, things can definitely change depending upon what we get, from the president with tariff news and etc. But it was a phenomenal opportunity to buy this stock. The other company we talked about was Meta. Meta was also a phenomenal opportunity to buy the dip on. As you can see, it definitely recovered, now close to all-time highs. It's only like $39 away from hitting its all-time highs of $740.25. So these were the main stocks that we talked about. And also we talked about, of course, you're just buying the dip on Nvidia and just the overall market. Another stock that we picked for 2025 was also GEO. This is also a company that could definitely benefit with some of the immigration news that's been happening, some of the policies that's been implemented. I bet, as you can see, when the president got elected around, it went to all-time highs, $36.46, but it's not really doing that much. But definitely keep an eye on it. It's definitely not doing some of the moves that we were expecting it to have. It's just consolidating between around like $22 to around $30 to $36. So definitely keep an eye on it, of course. But other stocks, there's definitely other opportunities out there. But this is one of those stocks that unfortunately did not pan out as we planned. But let's go over and talk about the top 3 penny stocks to watch out for this week. These are the companies that have FDA related news. If you follow my channel, we talk about these companies a lot in the past, and these are very extremely volatile penny stocks. With the FDA news announcements, they could potentially go up and down significantly. So if you're somebody that is interested in these kind of trades with penny stocks and things like that, there's definitely companies to watch out for. For the first stock that we're going to talk about is going to be CABA, ticker symbol CABA. Now, this is a company, when you look at it from the fundamentals and the technicals, it's looking pretty good. As you can see from the chart, it's definitely recovering pretty good from the lows that it made around like $1. It's basing out and it's slowly grinding back up, and it had a pretty nice breakout above $2.17, and it's kind of consolidating right now. And they have FDA related news coming out this week, June 11, from the phase 1 data they're going to do a presentation on. It's not really a massive announcement that's coming up, which is at the final stage of the FDA, but it's just like the beginning of it. So definitely keep an eye on it. But as you can see, when you look at the fundamentals of this company, it has around like 50.74 million shares outstanding, share float available for the public to buy and invest around 46.18 million shares. Insider ownership, 9% insider transaction so far, not a lot. Institutional ownership, as you can see, is pretty massive. So it's like 67.14%. Now, this is really important to look at because in case something goes wrong, when you see this institution ownership massive above 50%, if these companies don't perform very well, you can see a massive drop that can happen on this stock because an institution that holds like millions and millions of dollars worth of this stock dumps it because, okay, they're not performing or the data that they just announced with the FDA is not good. So they might dump it pretty massively. So it's really crucial to watch this institution ownership when it comes to these penny stocks because, as I mentioned, it could be a massive move because of these institutions dumping it or also buying it, So this is one of the high risk, high reward kind of situations to look at. So definitely keep an eye on it. I really like this stock. It has a really good base support. You can definitely have two support levels around $2.17 and also $1.70 area for potential pop up to around $2.90 or $3. And the next resistance we're looking at is our $2.83. So this is going to be the price target to watch out for this company. So let's go over and look at the second company to watch out for. So the second company we're going to talk about is going to be TSHA. This is also a company that is moving aggressively. As you can see over here, it makes some pretty massive moves. At one point it was sitting at $1. Right now it's sitting at $2.62. So the FDA news coming out is going to be on from tomorrow, June 11 to 12. So there's like a conference that's happening. So they're going to be announcing some of the research they've been doing, some of the drugs they're trying to pass. So definitely keep an eye on it. But let's look at detailed breakdown of this company. As I mentioned, these are the companies to watch out for institutional ownership. As you can see, the institutional ownership for this company is also above 50%, sitting at 62.25%. As you can see over here, the stock definitely had a pretty decent run and we have a good support. We can say it's a decent support around $2.40 area. If it can hold, consolidate, if we can get a pretty positive news come out, we might potentially see a breakout that can happen. Of course, if they don't like the data or if the stock decides to drop, could potentially, go all the way down to the area that it broke out of, which is around, $2, $2.20. So this stock, I really like the first stock, but this stock is also a company to watch out for if you're interested in it. But as you can see, also the share outstanding for this company is also higher. It's around 261.53 million shares available, share outstanding, and the share of the float is around 213 million shares. But it definitely moves pretty massive every single day. When you look at the range, it moves around an average of 24 cents per day. So when the news drops for tomorrow and then the day after tomorrow, we might potentially see some kind of like massive moves happening for this stock, so definitely keep an eye on it. Also, they announced earnings right around over here, and we had a pretty good run up in spite of earnings. So definitely keep an eye on it if you're interested in trading, if you see a pretty good setup for this stock. So the last company that we're going to be talking about is going to be ENLV. Now, this is a penny stock. I'm talking about like it is really, really cheap compared to the two stocks that we talked about. Let's go over some of the important things to watch out for this company. So as I mentioned, it's important to look at the institutional ownership. As you can see, it's only 14.05%, so it's not a lot of institutional ownership in this company, and the share outstanding is 23 million shares and only 20.98 million shares available for the public to trade. So you can consider this as a low float stock. Basically, there's not a lot of shares, so there's a lot of demand that can come in. This can definitely move, but so far, we're not seeing a lot of volatility on this company. It's basically consolidating within this range. As you can see over here, we kind of based out right around over here, consolidating. So if we get a positive news, of course, we might get a pop up to like above $1, close to $1.10. But if it drops, we have a good support around over here. It's kind of basing around like 85 cents. So it seems like it's not making a lot of moves, but it is a company to watch out for because it has a news coming out pretty soon with the FDA. So keep an eye on these three stocks. Let's talk about now for the overall stock market and what to expect. So as I mentioned, the stock market is performing very well. It's up 3 points, above 3% for the year 2025. The most important thing that's been happening this year is, of course, the volatility in spite of tariff news and some of the policies that have been changing left and right, and that is the leader of 2025 right now. So there is a lot of uncertainty that happened, but right now things are definitely started to clear out a little bit. Get to see, okay, some of the deals that the US is making with China or with Europe and things like that. So things are kind of trying to clear out. That's why the overall market is kind of like recovering pretty good. But things can change within flip a coin or flip of like a tweet or something. So definitely keep be in mind of that. So definitely be cautious, of course. In this market, things can definitely change. But if you see some kind of like a very, very decent drop, it's definitely time to get in and buy the dips and definitely be rewarded if you're a long-term investor. If you're short-term investors, of course, there's an opportunity to play both sides, long, short. That could be something that you can definitely do too. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the stocks that we talked about, and also if you participated in some of the stock plays that we talked about at the beginning of the year. Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear your opinion. Make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'd love to hear your opinion in the comments, of course. But I'll catch you guys on another video. Have a wonderful day.